Greetings, my little guzzlers. I ain't got a drink with me, bit early yet. I have had a couple of cocktails earlier. Been into town, had classic couple of cocktails like we normally do on a Saturday evening or afternoon. But I've got to start early. Ideally, I'd do this the day before, but I didn't have time. So we're doing a dish that needs a little bit of marinating time. So I'm going to do that, go away, and then 10 seconds later, I'll be telling you what we do with it after we let it marinate. But we're doing another Lebanese dish. We're doing a Levantine chicken and potatoes, or Lebanese chicken with potatoes. Now, we're doing a slight variant on it because what I've got here is some chicken thighs. Usually you do this with skin on, bone in chicken pieces. Okay, but we're trying to be a little bit healthier. We've got rid of the skin, got rid of the bone. I don't think you can buy skinless chicken pieces with bone in. So anyway, that's what we're going to make. I've got my chicken thighs in a bowl already. What we're now going to do is make the marinade, chuck it in the fridge for a couple of hours, but preferably overnight. And then, like I say, a few seconds later, I'll be showing you what we do next. Garlic features quite heavily in this dish. It's usually also served with a toum, which is a garlic sort of paste. But we decided, because we're out in a group tomorrow, not with anybody we know, so I don't know why she's worried, but we thought perhaps we better go a bit easy on the garlic. So we're not having the garlic toum, so I've just got a few extra cloves of garlic in there, okay? And then I'm going to add a couple of teaspoons of salt into there, okay? And that will be our sort of salt quota that will end up in there. And now all you want to do is basically mince up or mash up that garlic. You can use a garlic, what's name. You could use garlic granules if you wanted, but it's not really going to have quite the same desired effect. Okay, now this is a traditional Lebanese home style beloved tray bake. It's going to go in the oven, so you're going to need to get your oven on, but not yet, obviously, marinating time. So I just want to get this garlic all mashed up, and the salt will help with that. Okay, so the other thing you're going to want is some plain yogurt, some tomato paste, some Lebanese 7 spice or Lebanese chicken blend spice, but 7 spice is ideal. A lemon, you're going to want the zest and the juice, and that's what's going in the marinade. You're also equally going to need obviously potatoes, because it's chicken with potatoes, but we don't need them just yet. And you're going to need an onion or two, and you're going to need some olive oil. And we're serving it with some pickles and some flatbread. Like I say, it would normally be sometimes with this garlic paste, which is this basically garlic mashed up with olive oil, and sometimes with like a chili paste, like looks like a salsa, but it's made with chilies. But anyway, I'm just going to finish off this garlic. About 3 tablespoons of that 7 spice powder, in that goes. Yogurt. I think my little one's in the wash, I think, actually. Yeah. So in goes that yogurt. I should have perhaps done the garlic first, because now I need to get the garlic out of there. Okay. So this is a sort of classic, like I say, this is a kind of thing that they would cook at a weekend, and the smell of this cooking would highlight the fact that it's the weekend and our weekend festivities can start. I'll try and get that in there without breaking everything. Now, tomato paste, you're going to want about 2 to 3 tablespoons. So to be honest, that's 1, 2. I might just put that whole tube in there. Okay. Now, it's not just going to marinate in this. This will all end up in the final mix, as it were. So our final thing we want to put in there is a zest of 1 lemon. And then we're going to juice that lemon into it as well. Now, this is quite a classic combination of flavours. Just bear in mind though, obviously potatoes were introduced later in the you know, the East, the Middle East, because obviously they came from Americas. And same with chicken. Chicken now is considered a highly sort of protein rich sort of fundamental, if you like, ingredient in Lebanese cooking. But they will also use beef, lamb, also vegetarian, depending obviously with the time of the year, you know, what it is, whether meat's on the menu or not. There's a lot of zest coming off this lemon. So that's in there. So the last thing I've just got to do, once I've got all that zest out of there, is juice up that lemon. So I put a glove on for this bit, because what we now want to do is get that all mixed together, but equally get it all over those chicken pieces. I suspect we've probably got less chicken thighs here, and then the actual pieces that he had, simply because it's a lot runnier. It's the same sort of rich colour. So this dish is like going to be nice and fragrant from the lemon, the spices, the garlic, but equally it's a nice vibrant colour, if you like, and that red is going to come out a bit more. At the moment it don't look very red, admittedly, but it's going to come out a bit more. But once you've made sure all your chicken is covered, okay, we're now just going to cover that with wrap. And he says try not to make a bloody mess everywhere. We're going to cover that with wrap, and it's going to go in the fridge for a minimum of 2 hours. Like I said, don't you dare go on the floor, you little shit. Ideally, you might want to marinate that overnight. So that's that bit done. When you're going to be ready to cook it, you want to put your oven on 200 fan, okay. But while that's preheating, we're going to prepare our onion and potatoes, and that's it. Oh, you might want to obviously we've got to get our garlic, our pickles, and some parsley. You can put some parsley as a garnish on it, and our flatbreads. But essentially, it's just for the dish itself. It's just potatoes and onions. So we're getting close to that time where we're going to start cooking. So I've got the oven preheating up to 200. Spot on. So now I just want to take my onions and I'm going to top and tail them, and then cut them in half lengthways, peel them. Now he says sort of one onion. I'm going to see how I get on with one, okay, and if necessary I'll have a second, because this is going to form the base of the dish. Okay, so having peeled all that off, what we want to do now is get all that skin off of there, is slice that way, so along the length of the onion, and then you're going to take that, and in a deepish dish, because remember we're going to need to get the chicken in here, we want a layer. Actually, I think, to be honest, I'll probably get away with one onion. We want to layer this onion all over the bottom. Now the idea being, this helps stop anything on the bottom burning. Okay, there's a bit of water all down there. And should help absorb some of them juices. A bit of skin there, get off. Some of them juices that's coming out of chicken. Now bear in mind, we're using chicken thighs with no skin on. You can use chicken breasts. The only difference is that if you're doing the sort of bone on, yeah, I think we're just going to do that one onion, to be honest. Look at the dish size I've got. So there you go. We've got a base of that. Just put that to one side. If you're using breast, then for the first hour of cooking, cover it with something like foil or a lid. I'm going to do that with my thighs as well. Ooh, cover my thighs. Excuse me. Simply because we don't really want it drying out, and then we'll just remove the foil for the last sort of half hour or so. So I'm just going to clear this mess, get rid of that onion, and then we're going to peel. I've got about 6 potatoes there. Okay, again, I'll see how we go. So that's like 5 potatoes peeled, and what we want to do now is cut into half, and then we sort of want to cut them into even sized sort of wedges or chip size, if you like. So some of these potatoes, because of the shape of them, I'm cutting them that way. So like potatoes, like I say, they were introduced into Lebanon, well, into the Middle East. Obviously, I think it was about 15th, 16th century through trade through Europe. And initially, everyone was a little bit sceptical of these new vegetables. Okay, actually, I've probably done too much potato here, I think. So I know it's wasteful, but I might not use one of them potatoes. Actually, I'm going to cut that one like that. But now it's become like a staple sort of root vegetable. So as soon as I've got, yeah, I'm going to just do that last one. I'm afraid that one's going in the food bin, as it were. I think we got more than enough potatoes here. Obviously, bear in mind how many people you're cooking for. So not waste too much. I do half them. End of the day, if we don't eat it, it goes in the food waste anyway. Oh, I'm sweating like a pig here. So now we've got that all done. Now it's time, once our oven's up temperature, to start the cooking. So there's our tray of onions. Here's our chicken. And what we want to do now is just lay this chicken on top of those onions. Okay, we do have an awful lot of sauce here. And I have followed his instructions here. I'm just surprised at how much I've got here. So we're just going to make sure we don't waste any of that. It's all going in there. And just spread that over the top. And then our next stage, just get that in the wash there, is, actually I might get rid of that glove because I should probably end up making more mess. we now just take our potatoes and you just wedge them in wherever you can. Okay, in between. It's obviously it's difficult to see here where the chicken is, because how much sauce there is there. He had like chicken quarters, and he had a bigger what's name, a bigger sort of roasting thing, so it was a bit more spread out, and so it was a little bit easier to see where everything was. But we just want to go round embedding in all this potato. Right, in light of the fact that that chicken is completely smothered, I'm not going to bother covering. Okay, so I'm going to leave that open, but I'll keep my eye on it. Now we're going to put that in the oven for between 70 to 90 minutes. So like I say, if you were covering it, after 60 minutes take the covering off. But we want, like, in a way, if the skin on the chicken was there and it was near the top, we would want that browned and skinned up, crisped up. So go in the oven and I'll check on it in an hour's time. Oh dear, running out. And also before the end of the cooking, or before we're about to serve it, we just need to prep our pickles. And if we were serving it with any other things, like I say, that chili paste or that tube, the garlic paste, we would do it then. We'll do it when we're doing the other bits. Anyway, see you in a few seconds. Right, I've got out some flatbread. I didn't make this, I bought this. This is actually a high protein, I mean it's still full of carbs, but high protein flatbread apparently. And I've got some sliced gherkins that I've chopped up. Very reminiscent of a type of pickle or gherkin that they have in the Lebanon. Okay, and like I say, normally you might get your hummus, your garlic paste and this chili paste, but we're not going to do all that. I've chopped up some parsley, but now it's time, having just turned off that oven, to get this out. Now I'll put it on a baking tray simply because it, steam coming out of there. Whoop, there goes me up. I'm always worried that if that dish splits, it's about how much waste, that mess that makes. So there you go. Now actually I did forget something which is very typical of the Lebanese culture. Before you put it in the oven, you should have given it a good drizzle of plenty of good extra virgin olive oil. I didn't. So actually, it doesn't quite have that sort of like same crispiness you get if you had oil on it, but equally it makes it more healthy. So, bearing in mind that is red hot, you can see, well I don't know, perhaps you can't, it's bubbling away here. There's obviously a lot of moisture come out of that chicken, some fat has come out of that chicken. Just going to let that cool off a bit, but I'm just going to serve up some of the portions onto a plate and then we can taste the bugger. Right, I've served it up. Now, the way you'd normally eat it traditionally, you'd shred the chicken onto your bit of flatbread, add your pickles and paste or whatever, but bear in mind, we've got it as chicken thighs, so I've still got to get some chicken off of that. But let's just try a bit of potato first with some of that sauce. Now bear in mind that's going to be fucking on. I can see it steaming from here. Don't know if you can, but it's fucking steaming. The potato's still a little bit on the hard side, but that's pleasant. A nice zing from that lemon, which is what you want. We're getting the spice through from the garlic, from the 7 spice. A little hint, there's chilli in that, but not a lot, and there's a little hint of that. But obviously with the lemon zest, the lemon juice, see if we can get a bit of chicken. As usual, see, I'm trying to eat this one-handed. Here's a bit of chicken. Chicken's nice and tender. This is where thighs work better than breast, because they don't dry out so much. A lot of flavour packed in them, and they tend to hold the moisture a little bit better. What can I say? Now, if you want to be really authentic, you would drink it with a rack or a Lebanese wine. Can't find either. This is in my old Australian jammy red room. Oh, that's a lovely rack. Just sets that off just perfectly. But there you go. Your Lebanese chicken and potato and lemon, if you like. Bit of parsley. Still a bit of parsley. Perfect. Definitely worth making. And now I'm going to eat it properly with a bit of pickle and a bit of flatbread.